Go. Go.
Yo, what is going on, everyone? Here I am. I want to update you on T100 San Francisco as well as the rest of the season. And so 8th place at the race, off the streak I was having. Obviously that it's not incredible. It's still pretty good overall, especially when you look at the margins of the racing, right? We're so tight. This race was so tight. I was 2 minutes 10 from first place, but it was 8th. The two I was both second in, I was like about 90 seconds back. So my margin from the front was a little bit farther and the place looked quite a bit worse. Yeah, this race was a super cool race. I mean, just super cool. There's no race really like Escape from Alcatraz. And I think what we did in the T100, the pro race, was even cooler with the course they came up. And so all week, I'm there. Actually, not even all week. I was thinking about this swim for like months, I mean, jumping off a ship. Like, I think it's one thing to say like, okay, cool, you're jumping off the ship into the ocean and then you swim, but it's like, it's another thing to actually do it. And so I kept visualizing and training, like going out there and feeling what it would feel like, because it's not jumping off a ship in like a mountain lake. Like, it feels like the sea. You're jumping in the sea and it's at 6 a.m. and it's dark and it's stormy and there's clouds and the jump off is like, I don't know, 8 feet in the air or something, and you're standing on this tiny, little narrow edge, and you just feel like, yeah, I mean, you feel like, I don't know, an old school pirate or something, and you've broken the rules and they're sending you off to try and survive. And then you combine all the history of Alcatraz, right, and the prison, and I actually tried to embrace this mindset of like, okay, I'm escaping from Alcatraz and this is like something I must do. I have to do this. And certainly as the weakest swimmer in the field, I was a little nervous of getting dropped and being out in that ocean all alone and not having any water support, water safety people. And so I focused on my swim more on this, not just because I was scared, but also because I know it's the biggest limiter holding me back from truly achieving everything I want to achieve. And then the swim just went like super, super well. I dove in and I just went into a good place. I was strong, I was confident, I was mentally motivated, and the swim played out, I guess different than I want, but I've worked really hard. I think maybe the benefit of getting dropped in these other races and swimming all alone is I've had to work on my sighting and I've had to work on my navigation all on my own, and I've been used to being on my own. And I think Alcatraz, then this swim, like people were less in groups and you have to kind of do this stuff on your own. And the point-to-point swim with a current, right? So you have to swim slightly like this, but the current's blowing you like this. And so how you actually, like the points you pick to swim can make the course shorter or longer depending on how you go about it. And my swimming speed, I think, has improved, but it's also my navigation, my ability to swim in a straight line and sight that was quite good in this race. And so I will say, when I exited the water and it's like, well, you're 1 minute back, like I thought for sure I was going to win the race. If you look at what I've done before, coming back with a much bigger margin, that's just confidence. Like I was like, I should do this. I should be able to do this. It's not to say it would be easy, but of course that's not what happened. I got on the bike and honestly, from the first pedal stroke, I was just like a little bit off on the bike. The effort was just a little bit higher, right? The perceived exertion was harder than what it would have been in other races. And then it's such a shame because it was such a cool race. The course was difficult. Some people did predict that it maybe wasn't my best bike course. The hills are quite steep. There's no carrying speed over. The descents are quite technical. I'm not in the aero bars or anything, so I think the weight kind of works against you on the uphill, but then there's no real advantage to being a heavier guy, to being the big unit, on the downhill. And they were just riding so well. It was fun to be in the group, right? I haven't actually been in the group. I haven't gotten to see what it's like. In a way, it almost like threw off my strategy coming closer in, right? Because I was like, oh, I've never actually like been this close before, and I think it put me in a mindset of like energy conservation rather than attack. But I didn't really have the legs anyways. I was kind of just settled in the back thinking maybe things are going to get tired, maybe my legs are going to come around, still having the confidence that the final laps I'd attack. And I gotta mention an important thing. I messed up my transition one yet again, which is a huge shame. It's for sure, yeah, my responsibility. I think what happened right last time in Singapore, I forgot to put everything in the bin. So this time, because we had so much stuff, we had the booties on the feet, we had the gloves, we had the chin strap, we had the cap, we had the goggles, we had the wetsuit, and it was quite cold. And then of course I came out with everyone. So then Magnus had kind of beat me, and he was like right in front of me. So I'm like reaching behind into my bin. Anyways, all of this, like, it's my responsibility. I messed it up. I forgot my chin strap. Because I was so focused on getting everything in the bin. So, I'm a novice. I'm a rookie. I'm a novice. I need to go and I need to practice my transitions because some of these things are different at the T100, and I'm using my Ironman strategy in transition, and I'm messing up and I'm costing myself, super important things in these races the last two times. Like it's super important. And the huge difference in Singapore was I didn't know I had the penalty. I didn't even find out about it till I was like, I was like 12 kilometers into the run. I had no idea I had a penalty here. Everyone did inform me, so I found that I had the penalty like right after. And I think those things can be quite mixed, right? Because I had the penalty, like then you're going, how do I make up for this? Like I'm in the group, what's my strategy around this? And sometimes that can play mental games with you. While when you don't know, it's like I was in a great spot and then I served it. So I was trying to decide where I served the penalty. Towards the end of the bike, I kind of attacked. That was because of the penalty. It wasn't actually something I necessarily wanted to do. I knew it would be a strong surge, but I thought maybe if I could get a little gap, then it would allow me to serve the penalty and then be with everyone. So anyways, under the run, I thought the run was, gonna go, well, actually, no, I won't say that because the legs were just like horrible on the bike, and I was just in a lot of pain, but I was like still trying to be optimistic that okay, I could run decent. And the run was just such a sufferfest. There were so many great battles going on. There were so many great opportunities, and I just to be honest, I lacked the inner fire a little. I lacked the legs, but I also lacked the inner fire. I lacked the motivation. I lacked embracing the dark side, right? That's why I wear that kit, but I lacked that. It was just there was battle after battle, right? I came off in first, and then Kyle Smith came by. Again, I want to say everyone had a great, well, maybe everyone doesn't feel they had a great race, but it was great racing with all the guys, and I have tons of respect for them. And Kyle Smith came by, and I just had no response. And then I found myself in a group. Eventually I was with Rico. Anyways, it was just literally battle after battle. I had battles. I came off first and I had battles with 8 guys, Clement, Rudy, Matthias, Magnus. I just was having battles with everyone, but there was no response from me. And it was a difficult experience. And of course it's okay not to have the legs. And then I'd come by and the crowds were so supportive, and I was just in so much pain. I was almost in a different dimension, in a different universe, but the crowds would encourage me, and I'd try and smile, and eventually crossed the line in 8th place, and really proud of how I fought all day. Of course, really proud of that swim. And now I guess, the question is to why. Physiologically, I guess on one hand, it has been a long season. It's been a long season of, I started actually at October 1st preparing for all this, and Indian Wells was the start of my season, and now my season is over. But in the final few weeks, I was actually hitting my best training, right? I was doing my best training, and I think this is actually a case of what can happen mentally, and how, at peak performance, mental things can really set us off. And I guess I don't totally want to get into the details, but it's everything can go so well, and then 10 days out, just a number of big things came up in my personal life, with family and such, and this just my mind it was in other places. I was kind of in a different place. Of course, then, it's magnified. I came up with this whole plan to Australia. I was motivated. I was excited to that, but it just goes to show like life can turn on the turn of a dime, and things can change, and you can do all the preparation, and then these things can change. And so the race was definitely affected. And again, I handled it. I think as a top athlete, you need to be able to handle this stuff as well as possible. That it just took a few percentage points off. Went out there, got it done, but then it was like, there's not the fire to go and do this. And I do think the overall plan of cutting, the Australia, it was less about cutting Australia out. I mean, the fire was kind of gone, as I've said, but thinking more like big picture of, okay, let's have a long career, let's tackle these objectives, and go after that. And so now I'm on a break, which is the original plan. I'm on a break. I'm dealing with some of these things that have come up, really trying to tackle them and create a clear mental space, a place to be happy. Like the household, our happiness factor has gone down, and so you can be top in the world, you can be having the best season of your life, but these other things can weigh on you, and life is bigger than a triathlon, life is harder than a triathlon, and making sure now, right, like what's ahead of me is actually the first focus is getting all these things like in a better, more comfortable place, so that then I can get back to focusing on the training and the racing, but having a nice break and really keeping my eyes on both Vegas and the Grand Final. Those are my two biggest races coming up. That's what's gonna determine the ultimate success of the season, with a stop here in London in a short time, but I am taking 2 weeks off here. So that's my update. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. I do want to give a quick shout out, Ketone IQ here. They've come out with a new product, so it's got the same ketones you guys are used to, but they've combined it with 100 milligrams of green tea extract. So I would view this, you could take it before a hard session, but I actually have been experimenting with it in the mornings, kind of as a supplement to coffee or in addition to coffee, because then you get the ketones and the caffeine in one place. You don't have to brew the coffee, you take it, and it's long sustained energy. So thank you all so much. Let me know what you think. And I'm super happy with the overall progress of the season, my best season to date. Yeah, just executed so much, and really, really happy to keep building and to reset. So thanks for the journey. Cheers, everyone. See you guys later.